Well, welcome to another Frankston North Rotary Couch Conversations, and it's a great privilege to share the couch, the virtual couch today, with the fabulous Judi McKee. Hi there, Judi.
Hello, Bev.
How are you?
I'm well. Particularly inside today, cool day.
Yes, very good.
Very good, and not quite as isolated as we have been.
Fabulous. Well, as you know, if we could get together, we'd be sitting on the couch having a conversation, but we're doing a virtual conversation. And I'd love to ask you, if that's okay, Judi, how did you discover Rotary?
It probably goes back a very long time when I was a child in many ways. I've reflected on that. I was brought up in the country on the Murray, mainly farming and wheat. And my father was very involved with Rotary up there. And as you do in the country, if you're children, you become part of what they are. And so we tagged along with Mum and Dad to all the events and helped out at the different celebrations. So that in many ways was the beginning of a community spirit. My husband was in Lions years ago, and I was a Lions lady. But then years later, when my husband had died, I was approached to consider going into Rotary. So after some careful consideration, I decided that Rotary really was for me. I'd been involved in quite a lot of community services, and doing things as a small group or on your own is more difficult. With Rotary, it's about a huge family and bigger opportunities to get things done. And I can't say anything more than that, but to say it did come to fruition.
Yeah, lovely. So it's been a generational change. That's a generational continued kind of energy with community spirit. That's fabulous. Awesome. And Judi, I'm actually aware that you are the first female member of the Frankston North Rotary Club. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, it is correct.
Yes. And then some 8 years or so later, you became the first female president.
I did, 2012.
Wow.
Yes, it was a big decision there, something I hadn't really thought about before. In my career, particularly my later career, I probably worked very much in a man's world, as you did in those days. And so I was quite used to interacting with men on committees and so forth. So I didn't see from that point of view that there was a problem. But the challenge was really going into a club and being the first woman and wondering how that would be viewed. But to my surprise, people really welcomed me. They made me, right from the beginning, feel part of the club. I never considered myself really to be a woman, but more to be a Rotarian.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really special. And that's Rotary in itself creates change, like positive change for so many people. And so Rotary in itself is just showing how change has had to happen in the club. How, decades ago it was kind of male, but these days it's different generations, different genders, different cultures, and exactly that beautiful word you just said. It's not about man, woman, it's about being a Rotarian. I love that. Thank you. And in your years of Rotary, in your experience, have you got a couple of favourite projects that have, as there'd be thousands, hundreds of them, I'm sure, but if you could pick one or two and share, what comes to mind for you? A couple of favourites.
For the first few years, like any new member of Rotary, you are learning and understanding and getting to know the people that you're working with as well. But the first major event was probably being president of the club. And I felt very privileged and humbled by the fact that our up-and-coming district governor at the time actually asked me to become the president the year that he was district governor. And of course that involved organising helping with the organisation of the Rotary Conference and a number of other things that were happening that year, like our big Rotary anniversary. So for me, I felt very privileged that I was not just being asked to be president for the year, I was being asked to be president for a particular year. And it was a privilege. It was very exciting, having the district governor as part of your club, fulfilling the obligations that he asked of me, being very involved in the planning and execution of the conference with a fabulous group of Rotarians, being asked to speak at a couple of those events. It was very exciting, and we had a very, very successful conference, which adds to the value of how you feel about the whole membership of Rotary. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. The contribution you've given has actually made some traction and outcomes for people, which is wonderful. It's what it's all about. So well done. And Judi, you're the chair of the International Women's Day committee that's been going, I think I'm losing track of years, 6 or 7 years now on the Mornington Peninsula?
Yes, 6 years.
Wow.
Those years seem to have flown, Bev. Yes, it happened one day. Someone just came up and said, well, what about us down on the peninsula, Frankston and Mornington Peninsula, looking at the possibility of running an International Women's Day? And we'd all heard about the event that was being run in Melbourne, but we decided to give it a go. For us, it wasn't just about our club. We might have been the club that actually decided that the event needed to be run, but we involved a number of other clubs on the Mornington Peninsula and Frankston area across 2 clusters, and that in many ways that was the key to a lot of the success we had. We had a very, very enthusiastic committee, and we had a lot of fun organising these events, but the actual event itself was really about celebrating women. Yes. Over the past century. If you think back to the early days of women trying to break into the vote and also breaking into the workforce and being seen as part of the community, an equal community where people could go out and develop a very professional career. So all of those things have happened in the last 12 months. So we really feel passionate about this event now, in that we do celebrate those women in sport and professions and humanitarian events throughout the world. So.
Yeah, wonderful. And for anyone listening to this, do save the date. It's the first Wednesday of March, and follow the International Women's Day Breakfast event Facebook page, because that's where we announce the speakers and announce the tickets. It's a great committee working under the leadership of Judi, who's really bringing it to the Mornington Peninsula and saying, look, this is not just an event for women to turn up with. We have students, we have men, we have people bringing their partners, we have people bringing their families. It's a fabulous event that you've been chairing, and thank you, Judi, for your great work leading that. It's fabulous. And before I let you go, there's one thing I'm aware that you're very dear to your heart. It's about donations in kind. Would you kindly share a little bit about that?
Yes, it's something I've always been passionate about. We live in an incredibly fortunate continent, really, and one of the things we're fortunate to have is a good health system, a good education system, but in many ways, as a result of that, there is a lot of excess material that comes out of that for a lot of valid reasons. And that excess material is something that we feel should be used. If you look at other countries, particularly in the third world, they have nothing. And the reality is that we have products that we throw away, if you like, that they would be absolutely privileged to have. And so over the years, we've developed a relationship with Peninsula Health particularly, but other hospitals, other clinics, where we ask them to notify us of when they've got some equipment or materials that they want to dispose of. And we work very closely in collaboration with the Rotary Donations in Kind store up in Footscray. And so we've got a good system going, and we're very proud of the fact that one man's treasure, I think is the expression, isn't it? One man's waste is another man's treasure.
So true.
I like to think.
And in this day and age, it's already forging ahead, leading the way, saying we can repurpose things. Things don't have to be junk. They have to be, they can be repurposed, and they can be such great treasures to other people. And what a great project that's dear to your heart. And thanks for sharing it, Judi. Hey, Judi, it's been a fabulous little quick couch conversation, a little quick virtual cup of tea together. And I thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your Rotary journey. It's been an absolute pleasure to have this chat today. But being on the committee with you, it's an absolute pleasure working with you with the International Women's Day too. So thank you, Judi.
Thank you, Bev. My privilege.
Thank you. And folks, if you would love to know a little bit more about Rotary, wherever you may be listening and watching from, Rotary is in so many communities around Australia and around the world. So get in touch. You can message us below this little conversation, or you can send us an email, and we would love to put you in touch with your local Rotary club so you can ask your questions and discover if Rotary could be great for you. Thanks for joining us at our Couch Conversations. Thanks, Judi. You've been listening to Couch Conversations, brought to you by Frankston North Rotary. To discover more about Rotary, ask a question, explore if Rotary is ideal for you, please connect on our Facebook page or via email.